talking about your experience as an immigrant and a non-native speaker living in the United States.
Thanks for having me. Yeah.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, my name is Chris Yuen. I come to United States in 1991, so this is going to make the 31-year anniversary in August of this year. My mother, myself, and my sister moved to Southern California at that time in the middle of the recession, and we lived in Orange County. I went to high school there, then for 2 years. Then I went to college, also in Southern California, before I moved to the East Coast.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay, so Chris, I know that you completed your doctorate, and I'm wondering if you can, that's a huge enterprise to take on. So I'm wondering if you could tell us a little bit about your experience and that story. Let's just put it that way.
Thanks for asking about that experience. Indeed, it was a huge undertaking. I actually enrolled twice in 2 different doctoral programs. The first one I enrolled in back in 1997, and it was a PhD program in linguistics. And at that time, I was really young, and as much as I passed a lot of the standardized English writing tests, I just didn't realize that the writing demand was so high in a PhD program. Because of that, I actually dropped out after a few years. And among other things, being a doctoral, a PhD person in linguistics might mean a very tight job market down the road too. And so since then, I dropped out in 2001. I got a job to become a school teacher, and I was teaching math with whatever math that I know. I wasn't a math major to begin with. And then I somehow stumbled upon a program down to like 2010. And at that time, I taught math for 10 years, and I saw this adult learning program, and it's a doctoral program. So I applied for the program and thought that, well, maybe it will work out. And now that I'm teaching immigrants and refugees at the university, most university professors do have doctoral degrees, so I should be able to have one and stand next to everybody else who is just as accomplished. Well, I applied, and I got a letter back saying thanks, but no thanks, tried again next year. That program it's a cohort program that starts in the summer. Apparently, there was some dropout, that it was a really tough program. So someone at admissions called me in the fall and said, well, we have 1 spot left. Do you want to go in? And I said, sure, just sign me on. Well, you'll be behind to begin with. I said, I don't care. I just wanted to be in the program. So that one, I actually was pretty successful. It wasn't as challenging as I thought. I mean, it was demanding work. But if you're thinking about the culture, I mean, I was like a late admissions person going in. All the cohort people, they already formed their own study groups and their support group, and I was just kind of an outside person for the most part. By the time we're done with the coursework, we go into the dissertation writing mode. A dissertation is basically an original research project that sums with a book-length a writing assignment, basically. You have to, so you have to write as professionally as you possibly can about the research that you do. The research was actually fine, well within my grasp. By the time I get into the writing piece, And I thought to myself, I should have it made by that time. I survived so many failures in my writing endeavor, so this time I would take it as seriously as I could. And every month I submitted a chapter to my dissertation supervisor. She didn't say a thing about the content, and next month I submitted another chapter. By the time that I finished writing the whole draft, at most she told me was like, add 2 paragraphs here, that sort of thing. So it wasn't a huge, so in terms of content, I figured that it was under control, that should be good enough for the standard of a doctoral degree. And then she phoned me up one day and talked to me and said, well, before I turn this whole draft to all the other readers, would you mind finding either an English writer, or in your university, maybe there's an English professor who could do some editing for you? Now, she did use the word some, but we knew that there was a lot of work that needs to be done in editing. So in my workplace, I was fortunate enough that I met a woman. She was a ESL teacher, but I think her strength was really in editing. And so what I did and what she did was, I mean, this is nothing fancy or nothing that you would pine at looking at it. We basically sat at a McDonald's and I printed out the entire draft. She looked at every page and combed through every sentence, even though if they're grammatically correct. She just wanted to make sure that it reads smoothly, it sounded well, and I would enter the edit on my computer page after page. And after 2 weeks, we finished the whole draft. I printed out the whole new draft. She combed it again and again and again. I think she combed it for about 5 times. It was like a month and a half of editing. Now, I think earlier I did mention that when I was back in freshman composition, what I really wanted is someone who could guide me through how to do editing. I think I really did not feel that I had that particular experience until that month and a half over in a fast food shop, keep doing this soft drink refill until we could get it done. It really helped my English writing tremendously, having someone individualized doing the editing, showing me what is good writing and what is not so good writing. Not that they're bad writing, it's just not as good as the writing piece goes. So I will brag a little bit. Among the entire cohort, I was the second one who defended my dissertation, and my revision was a single sentence plus an extra reference, and I was the first one who turned in my final draft. So, so if there's a silver lining in the story is, at first my admissions file didn't really speak for itself. I'm sure that's why I wasn't being admitted in the first place. But those only speak so much. It's really your own effort, your own work, and your own initiative to sought help if you can recognize what you need help in order to get through something as big as a doctoral program.
That's very good advice, Chris,
Yeah.
and it's advice that I hear running as you've been talking to me. It's some advice that I've really been hearing you say a lot, and I just want to really thank you for talking about your educational experiences, from going from a 16-year-old kid coming to this country to having difficulty passing remedial English, to Dr. Yuen, the university professor.
Well, thank you for having me, and thank you so patiently listening to my story. Appreciate it.
Absolutely, absolutely my pleasure, Chris. Thanks so much.